Hello everybody, and thank you for stopping by for my review of the sequel that I'm not too sure if we really needed, Super Troopers 2. So before I get into this review, I just want to say a big thank you to Billsy and the team from Radio Metro 105.7 for inviting me along to the screening tonight. And if you're a local Gold Coaster who's after a radio station that plays nothing but the best music, then make sure you tune into 105.7 Radio Metro and enjoy. Enjoy. That's something that I didn't really do with this movie. So when the first Super Troopers came out in 2001, a friend of mine and I went and saw it, and look, we were not fans of that movie. When I say we weren't fans, it was kind of the benchmark movie for bad movies. Like, anytime a bad movie would come out, we'd be like, yeah, but is it Super Troopers bad? And I do realize that there are a lot of people who did like it. It came out around the time that I started working in video stores, and it was a very popular renter, usually by people who would come in the middle of the night with bloodshot eyes and hadn't showered for a week, but yeah, you get the idea. So reluctantly, I went along to the screening of Super Troopers 2 because, oh look, you know, hey, why not? I'll give it a chance. I'll see what it's all about. But, oh wow. Oh my god. This movie was so bad. So the sequel is set just a couple of years after the first one, and it's got something to do with, there's a bit of land north of the Canadian-US border that is being rezoned into US territory. And so the cops from the first movie, they've got to go along and try and keep the peace and make friends with the Canadian Mounties and stuff like that. And there's some plot about some smuggling of arms and drugs and stuff. And really, who cares? Because that's the thing with this movie that pissed me off so much. Like, it just wasn't funny. I mean, I get that there were moments in the film that were meant to be funny, but I seriously did not find anything in this movie funny. In fact, it was infuriating. Seriously, I'm sitting there watching this thing just seething and wanting to run from the theater. And before you say to me, well, hey, you know, it's supposed to be just a lowbrow, goofy comedy, I get that. But, you know, I'm a fan of lowbrow, goofy comedies. I love them. But you can still have a decent plot, characters that you actually enjoy watching, and, you know, characters that develop. Or even, I don't know, maybe jokes that are funny? This movie had none of that. It was just so mind-numbingly frustrating. The plot was so wafer thin, and you've seen it 1,000 times before, and it was predictable as hell. The performances were crap. Rob Lowe is in this thing doing the worst Canadian accent I've ever heard in my life. South Park Canadians do a better Canadian accent than Rob Lowe.
Don't call me a rat, buddy. I'm not your buddy, friend. He's not your friend, guy. I'm not your guy, buddy. He's not your buddy, friend. I'm not your friend, guy.
And there were just so many bits of dialogue that just had no relevance to the plot or anything like that. There were these whole scenes where people are just sitting around talking about something totally irrelevant, and it does nothing to further the plot. And don't get me started on all these weird things that just happen so coincidentally and conveniently, including a bit where there's a shootout with some characters, and there's some up on a ledge, and they're not even really that covered or anything, and so the other characters can't seem to hit them, and yet when it comes time to pinpointing just one tiny little piece of metal, hey, no problem. And the movie just relied solely on nostalgia of the first one, to the point where Marisa Colin, I don't know how to say her name, the blonde chick from the first one, she was just shoehorned into this film for no reason whatsoever, simply just to remind us that, you know, hey, the first one, you guys loved it, so you'll love this. Look, yeah, I mean, if you like the first one, you're probably gonna like this one. I mean, this is just my opinion, so if you're a big fan of the first one, don't go clicking the thumbs down just yet, because, you know, this is my opinion. Simply delivering this maybe for people who didn't like the first one. If you didn't like that one, steer well clear of this. It doesn't get any better. There's nothing good I can say about this movie. There was not one single moment in this entire film that I actually liked or will remember. you know, I largely base my scores of movies on how well I'll remember them. And in all seriousness, I only saw this movie a couple of hours ago and I'm already forgetting quite a bit of it, which is probably a good thing. So look, again, like I said, if you like the first one, go check it out. You're probably going to have a good time. There were a lot of people in the theater that were laughing at this film. I don't really know why. It's just not for me. So it's probably come as absolutely no surprise that Super Troopers 2 is the worst movie I have seen so far this year, up there with the worst I've seen this decade, and I'm gonna give Super Troopers 2 a 0 out of 10. Alrighty, throwing it over to you guys. So, if you've seen Super Troopers 2, let me know what you thought of it. Did you like it? I'm not going to hold anything against you. You know, we all watch movies with different sets of eyes. This just wasn't my thing. So if you liked it, I'm really happy for you. And of course, stay tuned next week. We've got a good movie, I hope. Avengers Infinity War coming up, which I'm guessing is probably going to be better than Super Troopers 2. And stay tuned to my channel because I'm going to have a prize giveaway when it comes time for my review of that movie. And I've also got a few other surprises coming up. Some things I've got in the pipeline involving some other YouTubers who, if you follow my channel, chances are you know these guys. Something's coming up, so stay tuned for that. So to stay up to date with all the stuff that's going on with my channel, make sure you click that subscribe button. In the meantime, if you've seen Super Troopers 2, let me know what you thought of it, or alternatively, if you're like me and you hated the first one, drop me some comments, let me know your thoughts. Fire away, leave those comments either here or on Facebook. All the social media links are in the description below, because I like to talk about movies and I would love to talk about movies with you. Catch you next time.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.